Yes, it's finally here. Flsun V400. Let's go. Thank God they labeled this as heavy because this thing is freaking heavy. It's gonna stop bringing this to the basement. And this is where it's gonna go. The perfect spot for the perfect 3D printer. I've been waiting for over 3 months for this guy right here. I really hope this is not an issue. Please don't be broken. Time for this handy dandy Swiss Army knife. And here we go. That's some heavy duty black foam right there. I think the printer will be just fine once I open it up. That outside damage probably didn't do a thing. And now for the moment of truth. Ta-da! Wow, these things are super nice. Look at that. I'm gonna love this. The first step will be to set up the two bases on the floor. And what they're basically saying is to have the Flsun logo, which is right there on the top part, in the same direction as the QR code, which is right here. So once you have that in there, you're probably gonna end up with the Y labeled slot on the top, and basically you're gonna put the Y leg on it and attach the screws for it. So here we go. To attach it, you're gonna be using the cam screws located in this bag that has a lot of them. Don't be mistaken with the tiny bag right here that only has a few screws. You have to use the one with many screws. So remember to connect the top cable to the beams before screwing them in. One suggestion when building it, when assembling it, is to actually use the packing foam as a build base. That way you don't scuff your printer as you attach the support beams for it, and in addition as you rotate it to install additional legs. So right now I already have secured the first beam with 4 screws on the bottom and on the top, and now I'm going to rotate to add the other 2. So basically I'm just going to grab it and rotate it for the next one. Here we go, beam number 2. For the printer, where you connect the actual cable for every beam, there is labeled with the right letter. So in this case, the second support beam I'm going to use is letter Z. So I'm going to look right here for my beam. This was the X one. This one's labeled as Z, so this would be the one that I would use. Then once you're done assembling all the legs, you're going to put the Y board on top again. You're going to unbundle these cables right here, which are tied with little tie wraps. And then you're going to take what they call the straightening cable, which is this one right here. You're going to pass it along the inside all the way down here and connect it to that connector at the bottom of the 3D printer. Let me share with you guys a small pro tip to make passing this cable right here a whole lot easier. So that little crevice, let me see if I can put it in there. I mean, it's a really tiny space. That tiny elongated one where the cable is supposed to go. It's really hard to go, to fit this cable through there because the cable is quite thick. And especially if you have it in the horizontal position. So what I would first do is, when feeding that cable, put the printer standing up back in vertical. And once you do that, what you may want to do is feed one wire that you may have hanging around the house, maybe a coat hanger or something. And if you see, the guys at Flsun actually thought about everything. And right here in the cable, there's this little white little thingy that can actually hook the cable in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect the USB cable to it. I'll show you in a second. Almost there. Now it's tied up, as you can see. I'm going to feed it through the cable, and then I'm going to pull pull on my original wire to make the process of passing the cable through a whole lot easier. And just like that, as I pulled on the cable, it works. Awesome. Once the cable is passed through, goes right through the loop and connect into this white connector right here. And you're done with that step. The next step is going to be taking out the carbon fiber arms, which are basically just sticks with a spring in the middle, and attaching them into each of the sliders right here. You see there's basically, let me see if I can show you, this one that's not installed, there's basically 2 ball joints in there. So what you're going to do is you're just going to put one in here, then stretch the spring a little bit, and it connects that way, and you're going to do the same thing for all 3, and you're going to end up with 3 of those carbon fiber support legs on them for the extruder. The next step is to install what they call the effector and the extruder. And basically they're saying locate the front of the printer, which you can tell by the logo right here, and make sure that the cover of the effector or extruder is facing the same direction. So you're going to use again the same ball joints and connect them into the printer. So I'll do it in a second and I'll show you. Once all the ball joints and posts are attached together, this is what it should look like, with this part facing the Flsun logo, which is the front of the printer. At the other end of the effector / extruder are all these color-coded connectors, and they all go connected up here, and each one's color-coded as well. Very easy to do. Just follow them one by one. Every color just fits perfectly into its own connector, and we should be done fairly soon. This is what it looks like once all the connectors are connected. There's 2 black small connectors. They're the same. They're basically just sending out black and red wires for power. So it doesn't matter which one you connect to, just make sure you connect them in the right position. Following the MOX connector with the indentations. Step, you're going to connect the filament detection sensor, which is this one right here. You're going to connect this white wire that comes out of the top of the printer. You're going to connect it here into the sensor, and then you're going to snap the sensor on the 2 slots right there. The way you basically connect the sensor is there's 4 slits in there where the actual, legs of the sensor go, and basically you just first push it in forward where it's a little bit wider, and once it's aligned, just squeeze a little bit in here and slide it back, and it will hold into place. Then the last few steps is just to install the filament support for the spindle. Put the stops caps on each of the 3 support beams, and you have an assembled printer. The next step is quite an important one. Make sure before you turn on the printer, you see right there that there's a little tab that says 220 volt or 115. Make sure that you set it up correctly to your proper geolocation voltage. Like in the US, we use 115, and this one's come preset for 230. Probably, if you run it at 115, at 230 and a 115, probably it will just not run. But if it's the other way around, you may actually fry out your components. So make sure you set up the voltage before turning this on, just by flipping this little tab left or right accordingly. And then you can turn on the printer, and voila! It's time to turn on the printer for the first time. Okay, everything's set up and ready. So I installed the leveling head just so we can level the printer, which is the first step. And then power it on the printer for the first time, and it's booting up. And there we go. So I went ahead and I followed the menu and clicked on calibrate, which is basically the first step to calibrate the printer. From what I understand, you only do that once you move the printer, and you don't need to calibrate pretty much ever again. You know, maybe every so often, but it's not something that you need to do after every print. So we're gonna let it finish its calibration procedure, and then we'll continue. The next step is to build a level mesh. So we're gonna go into bed level, bed mesh, and continue. And it's gonna do something similar to the calibration process, and it will build a leveling mesh for the printer. This is pretty cool. And we're starting our first print with a calibration cube. This is gonna take a while. Oh, that's probably going to take a couple of minutes, so I'm just going to pause the video here and show the end result. Oh, here we go. Now it's starting to wrap up. It's ramping up rather quickly. Look at that. I love Delta printers. All done in 7 minutes. 7.5 minutes. That's awesome. Okay, here's my first print, which is a basic calibration cube, so nothing special, but the quality on this thing is pretty amazing. And it printed in only 7 minutes, which is pretty insane compared to the printers that I used to, well, the printer that I used to have back in the day. It makes me feel so old. Anyways, this is so awesome. Okay, so after trying out the printer for about a day, 6-7 hours, give or take, here are my thoughts. This thing is a beast. Super fast, super sturdy, barely vibrates. I mean, it's a little bit on the tall side, but at least for my setup, it's just a perfect size. Uh, really love the tablet, even though it's not necessary because you can also use it from the computer and just connect via Wi-Fi and do everything from there as well. But it's a cool, nice touch. And the prints come out really good. I did had a bad print for that little thing that you see there where the tablet is resting. It started fine, and then somewhere in the middle, it started to tear apart. But I'm pretty sure those were the settings that I was using since I'm new to 3D printing. So I just have to look a little bit more into what are the settings for that specific file. Now, my advice, and this would be the part where probably Flsun is gonna hate me a little bit, but they didn't send this to me for free, so I can be totally honest with you guys. If you're gonna order this from them, I would rather just you guys go ahead and order it through Amazon, because as I mentioned earlier in the video, I actually did order this in early October, like October 5 or 10, give or take. And when I order it, in the website it said in stock and ready to ship. At the moment I order it, on the next day it said it updated and said not in stock, pre-order, it will arrive early November. Early November, they went ahead and they said, oh, we had some issues. Apparently our factory in China is closed for COVID. Early December. Early December, I kept telling them, hey, this is unacceptable. Give me at least a ship date. Because I see that you're sending units to YouTubers and people that are doing videos, and I've ordered already, and it's been almost 2 months and nothing. They would never give me a straight answer, and at that point, like mid-December, I went ahead and I tried to cancel with them. They did not cancel, so I basically had to, thank goodness I had paid through PayPal, so I basically sent all the information, all the chat transcripts to PayPal, and they canceled the order. And yet, to this day, if I go to the Flsun website, it still shows that my order is accepted and pending shipment. So their communication is horrible at best. And even when they were trying to get back to me, they would give me this half answers in broken English that I could barely understand. And when I tried to follow up for clarification, they simply would not reply. So, I mean, it's a great product. I don't know if it's a language barrier or the supply chain issues or whatever it is, but even in those cases, they can definitely do a better job. So save you some headache. Maybe at the end of the day, after shipping, if you're an Amazon Prime member, you're probably gonna end up paying like maybe $10 more. I mean, you order it, it's in stock, it gets to your house in 3 days, no ifs, no buts, no headaches. So that would be my second pro tip. Order through Amazon or your preferred e-tailer, and definitely avoid ordering from them directly because it's just too much hassle to deal with. Anyways, awesome product, awesome printer. Looks very stylish as well. A couple of people have come to my house and have seen it, and they're like, "Oh wow, that's pretty cool," and it definitely is. Again, just a regular guy showing what I have, showing my experience. Hope this helps somebody, and have a good one.